Welcome. Today we're walking around Niagara Falls, a couple of the main streets in the tourist area. Right now I'm on Ferry Street. It's going to eventually connect to Victoria Avenue. So I was just at Main Street. I'm just going for a walk. I could use some exercise, who couldn't, right? So let's take a look around. My name's Kaye from kevinkaye.com, and on this channel I do YouTube tutorials, tech reviews, and a lot of live streaming. So if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Walking along Ferry Street, which actually behind me turned into Lundy's Lane, very popular street that goes right through the center of Niagara Falls, the whole city. Right now we're in an area that contains, some touristy stuff. There's lots of restaurants and a few gift shops and things like this, but lots of houses. We're still in the area where a lot of locals live. Because it's a town that's on the water, it grows out in almost like a horseshoe type fashion. So the tourist area is down by the water. We're heading, kind of that way, and I'll point that way. But the locals live in a horseshoe all around the outside. I've been living here for 4 years now, but I'm originally from Toronto, and I have some previous history with Niagara Falls as well. It's a wonderful place to visit and a great place to live as well. So I've been happy for the time that I've been here. You can see some of the larger hotels off in the distance there. But again, the main purpose of this stuff, I could just use a little bit of exercise. So I thought, why not live stream and just show you around this town? Not to mention, we're kind of documenting the way that the world is changing right now. Things have been closed for a long time. You've got lots of hotels and stuff that are still in somewhat operation, although they're very slow. And then we've got, this is a franchise, but you've got lots of other restaurants and things like that. What they've been able to do is take orders so they can deliver, most of them if they chose to stay open, or you can go in and get an order and take it out. But we're having a look right now before things open back up. Like for instance, so here's a parking lot, empty. But it won't be for long. In the coming weeks, that place will be packed. All these parking lots. You see how slow everything is? It'll all pick up. It doesn't seem too windy today, so hopefully we're not going to have any trouble with that. Georgia Bulldogs, thanks for coming in. Jaden, thanks for coming back again. The Dude Rocks, it's great to see you in here as well. Santa V Gaming, thanks for coming in. John Spizzo, thanks for coming by. Connecticut, North Carolina. Did I get that right? No, I can't read your the city. That's my own fault. Conover? Is that how you pronounce that? Conover or Conover? No, Dude Rocks, I'm live right now. So again, I just needed to, more than anything, I could really use some exercise. And, I can social distance while I live stream, of course. Stay away from everybody. There's off in the distance, you see a lot of the larger hotels here in Niagara Falls. And if you look, the large hotel on the left, you see right behind it, looks almost like a little spaceship on top of a tower. So that's called the Skyline Tower. And there's lots of other places like that all over the world. Toronto has the CN Tower, which is the Canadian National Tower. This is Skylon, S-K-Y-L-O-N. And then you have places like the Space Needle in Seattle and things like that. I've never had the pleasure of being there, but You know, we know it for movies and television and stuff. Kristen and I went for a New Year's Eve to the Skyline Tower here. They've got a revolving restaurant. So you go in there, and I forget if it's approximately 90 minutes that it takes the restaurant to revolve all the way around the tower. So you go for dinner, and while you're looking through the window, you're getting a view that changes constantly. And they do a great job there, so we had a good time. And then, of course, Niagara Falls has spectacular fireworks displays often. New Year's is no exception. They really do it up, and you're able to see it from that height. You can imagine how spectacular it is. I'm way out of shape, so you'll excuse my panting, even though I just started walking 5 minutes ago. Go 13, great to see you. Thanks for coming by. This is something that, you know, basically anybody can do in their town. So I'm very lucky because Niagara Falls is a monster tourist destination. They call it the honeymoon capital of the world. And you see it in TV and movies and stuff like that. And it, you know, the Niagara Falls themselves are one of the world's 7 wonders. So there's a lot here that makes my little speech somewhat invalid, but anybody could do what I'm doing in their town. You can see how far all the touristy stuff goes here. And eventually I'll head down all these streets and we'll get a good look at like the entirety of Niagara Falls. Just gonna chill for our lights here. When I was driving down here the other day, one of the guys was saying, why are you so far away from the traffic lights? Because in some of the United States, I know that the traffic lights hang diagonally across the intersection. And so the traffic lights are much closer to you. Here in Canada, or at least in our area, Southern Ontario, all the traffic lights are spread out on the corners of the intersections. So forgive me, that's probably the least interesting thing there is to talk about Niagara Falls, but why not indulge? Not going to be the shortest light change we've ever seen either. Leonard Shea, good to see you, thanks. I'm using an IQ Motion, which is not a very expensive one. It cost me 100 Canadian dollars almost, so about 70 bucks US. And I think it's a Best Buy exclusive because I look on Amazon and I don't see it. So you will see a link in the description of the live stream here that says the gimbal that I'm using with a link to Amazon. And the hope is that over time, if they get any, then the link will drive you right to the proper search results. In the meantime, it'll drive you to something similar. All right, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to run because I either didn't hit the button or it just doesn't change or whatever. Maybe I should have hit the button or something. Still learning every day. So there's lots of these places around here. You know, there's individual restaurants. Of course, there's lots of franchises as well. Kristen and I have found that when we've gone to a franchise for dinner within Niagara Falls, it's usually not an exceptional experience. But when we go to the individuals, it's always top notch. Lots of construction, but they do a good job of keeping up, especially the roads around here. I think the city really takes the tourism seriously. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, Leonard Shea. It's IQ Motion. IQ as in intelligence quotient, and motion for like the motion that the gimbal provides or prevents, if you want to look at it that way. I like it. It's very simple. There's many others that like copy, right? So I don't know who these guys copied. I'm assuming it all comes from China anyway. But it's very simple. It's only got a few buttons, a joystick, so that I can up and down like this, very simply. I'm not using any kind of a tracking app. I'm using Streamlabs right now because I don't really need much movement. So I'll tell you a story. This parking lot here used to be a nightclub. It was called Cantina Charlie's, and I used to rent that out about 10 years ago. I used to be a DJ and this and that. So I used to rent out nightclubs, and that was one of the ones I rented here. And you let teenagers have their night once a month on a holiday Sunday or something like that. So that went okay for a little while. But shortly after I stopped running parties, it had nothing to do with me, but the nightclub was at the end of the road. Why can't I catch a break here? See, it's got instructions for me. I guess I just don't like to read. Now I pushed the button this time. Maybe I'll have some luck. Us never them, thanks for coming in. Oh, lots of drive-thrus, Georgia Bulldogs, particularly the franchises. So all the stuff you'd expect, like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Burger King, things like that. We have different franchises, or not as many as other places like the United States and this and that. And I'm not sure how many of the individual restaurants have drive-thrus. But there are plenty. There's as many as you think there must be. So I like this gimbal. It does exactly what I need. I've used it for several live streams. I actually have 2 more live streams that I did in Niagara Falls, where one of them I started at a place called Clifton Hill, which is our most popular street that leads down to the falls, with restaurants and attractions, and there's a Harley Davidson store, and Ripley's, believe it or not, is there. And then I went down to the falls. The last time I did it, which is 2 weeks ago, I only went to the falls and I hung out there, and that was it. So you can see a lot of the regular names you expect. Travelodge, Days Inn, Denny's is around here. Courtyard Marriott, the Keg, Hooters is over there. So what you'd expect, but then again, there's a lot that is unique around here. So if you've ever been to a Brazilian steakhouse, we have at least 2 here. There's one called Brasa, and then there's another one called Copacabana, and they do the dance and everything else. The way that they serve their food, hopefully someday I'll get a chance to go there and do a review after things are kind of back to normal. There's Denny's right there. What they do is you have your plate on the table in front of you, and you have a little sign that they give you. Very small, like an extremely large credit card size thing. And it has on one side hot and on one side cold. Hot means keep bringing it, more food. And they bring all kinds of different meats. I don't know if they have 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever it is, different kinds of meats. And they slice it right onto your plate. And then they give you cinnamon coated grilled pineapple as well, which is like, you know, a lot of people will go there, spend $100 for dinner, and just be happy that they got the pineapple. It's that good. popular franchises. We got KFC over here. Of course, they're busy. Pizza Hut is with them. And you can see all the ones on the other side. So it's all mixed though. And lots of souvenir stores like this. Lots of places you can get trinkets and t-shirts and all the kind of stuff you'd expect from a place like Niagara Falls. There you go, TikTok famous right there. I got another shirt I wear. It says film crew on it, and it's meant to draw in a little bit more of that activity. Get a little more friendly people waving and this and that. You can see all the different stuff, and it gets a little more condensed as we get down the street towards the center. So the street I mentioned, Clifton Hill, is coming up. And there's something extremely interesting that a lot of people might love to see coming up here in just a second. They call it the Mario Kart inspired Niagara Speedway. That's a go-kart track, if you can imagine it. And we've, I forget where the clips are if we put them on Instagram. My son Jeremy and Kristen's daughter Kira have been on that. Kristen and I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure we will. And behind that, you see the Niagara Skywheel, which is just a monster-sized Ferris wheel. But people love it, and of course it lights up at night and everything else. Live on YouTube, you mind if I show what you're doing? Lots of different stuff that you're gonna find. Do you mind if I ask? I'm still learning, I live here, but what do you do here?
So we make sand art.
Okay.
So there's like, we make different designs, you know, where like sand doesn't fall out.
Oh yes, beautiful, okay.
It's a really nice design. You could have different designs. You have these big ones, small ones, everything.
Wow, and if somebody comes, you do it right in front of them?
Right in front of them.
Wow, you got the materials
3
right there.
3 minutes, everything.
That's fantastic. Okay, thanks, bud. So long. That's impressive stuff. And you'll find, like, I know in a lot of tourist areas you find things like this, but I never stop loving it. I'm the kind of guy who wears a floral printed shirt and a camera around my neck when I go places, just because I think it's comical. I like touristy stuff. There again is that Skywheel. You got a Sheraton Hotel over there. Casino Niagara off in the distance there. So that's the area. That's where I started the live stream from a couple of weeks ago. I guess it's been about a month, but if you look on my channel, you'll see that live stream where I started at the Niagara Speedway, and then I made my way down Clifton Hill until we got to the falls. So today we're just continuing along here. This is where Ferry Street changes and becomes Victoria Avenue. So we'll just continue what we're doing. Again, the biggest part of this, I obviously need some exercise, but I thought it'd be fun to live stream at the same time. And I'll keep doing these things. I'm actually thinking about doing a separate channel just for this kind of material. So I'll do videos with very detailed reviews of all the different stuff you could do, and then live streaming as well. So you guys can let me know what you think about that. Ripley's has bought out just about the whole block over here. They got different things going on. Lisa Capella, thanks for coming in. D-May, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I love Niagara Falls. I've lived here about 4 years now, and you know, I do enjoy it. See, I keep forgetting to hit these buttons. We learn all the time. This is like part of what I'm doing down here. I gotta learn this stuff, especially if I'm gonna do another channel and let everybody know you gotta hit the buttons if you want to cross the street. Anyway, here we go. Now, I forget which unit it was in here, but there used to be one of these places where you go and you take antique photos, and they give you a bunch of props so you can dress up like cowboys and stuff like that from the Old West and all this. Kristen and I did it. It's my favorite picture of us. We did it actually not too long after we started dating, and I don't know if it was a month or 2 or 3 months after it, the place burned to the ground. So we were sure lucky to have gotten it while we did. When we come back across, maybe I'll take a better look down that Clifton Hill that I was talking about. But if you want to get a good look at it, I've already done a live stream a month ago down there, so you can get a good look there. Oh, here it is, look. Okay, I was just telling the story. I wonder if they got... The windows are all covered, so I'm assuming that it's still out of business, but I don't know if it's... Maybe they put it back together and it's just closed because of what's going on in the world. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. Probably not going to get hit for copyright today. BB's Fantastic. Oh, BB's Fantastic Adventures. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just want to give everybody a look around. I mean, things are going to change, right? It's going to get busier, and you'll get a chance to look at the real Niagara Falls in the coming months, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm thinking about the channel, so thanks for saying that, D-May. I've already got it set up. It's ready to go. It's called Niagara Insider. Probably won't find it because I don't have a video up yet, but I've already got NiagaraInsider.com. I've got Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter ready to go, as I always do. And we'll see. We'll see how this stuff turns out. But if everybody likes it, I'd love to do it. One of the thoughts is, I mean, I keep going back to it, I could use some exercise. There's an empty parking lot. I'm showing you because in a few months we may never see that again. So one of the thoughts is, if I was to get up, let's say, I'm only in Niagara Falls 4 days a week, but if I was to get up and do a live stream to start my day, kind of like a walk and talk like we're doing now, and just take you somewhere different every day, could be a cool start. And then when things start to open back up, I can do detailed reviews of all the restaurants and hotels, attractions, and everything else. I'm not going to go too much farther here, but I'll go until the street kind of, it doesn't end here. See, if there's not much more to see here, then I'll turn back. We'll just go the other way. I'll keep the stream going for a while. We'll just head back the way I came and have a look at the other side of the street. Indoor water parks, the Hershey's chocolate store is here. You can get all kinds of stuff that you can't usually find in other stores, for those of you who like chocolate. Bird Kingdom, they just renovated that thing. I haven't been there yet, it's huge. So maybe I'm gonna I'll turn here and start heading the other way. The street goes for quite a way, but we'll do that another time. This time I remembered to hit the buzzer, so we'll wait for the, there's nobody around, but I'll just wait anyway. There we go. A little "you can walk" guy letting me know that it's fine. When I get back to that Clifton Hill, I'll take a little bit of a look down the street. I won't go down it, I'll just take a look. You can check that out on the first of the 2 live streams that I did. So I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up. I forget to mention that a lot of the time, but when we're watching on a phone, we have to shut the chat off to hit the thumbs up and then turn it back on. So it's easy to forget. That's why we always, anybody live streaming always reminds everybody 100 times. But I'll appreciate it if you do. And then if you're not subscribed already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I do tech reviews. I do a lot of YouTube related stuff, tutorials, and I do a lot of live streaming. So I hope you'll consider subscribing. Nobody's coming in here, so I don't need to worry about the buzzer this time. You'll likely never see that so empty ever again. It's astounding. I picked the right day for this, that's for sure, because we've not got a lot of wind for once. Last time I was out it was pretty windy, and you can imagine what that sounds like. Dan from Impressions Music is in the house. Dan's crazy, silly, fresh wedding DJ. He does a lot of streaming on Twitch, and he streams also to YouTube and where else? Facebook. Impressions DJ. Sincerely, Lucy is in the house again. Thank you. That's twice in one day. Lucy is a wonderful, loyal and dedicated supporter who's been with me for months. And she has brought a community of generous and considerate, loyal and dedicated supporters to me, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Lucy, you may not know, but I made my hours. So I'm in review right now on my personal channel. Of course, I manage other channels for people, and they're long monetized, making thousands and this and that, but it's exciting nonetheless. And D-May, you're in Burlington, really? Reap what you sow. I haven't seen you in a while, but thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you hanging out. I needed some exercise, so I decided that we're gonna walk around my hometown of Niagara Falls. I've been living here for about 4 years. I used to live in Toronto, grew up there, but I have a little bit of history here as well before moving here. So I'm not going to go down here. I'm just going to look down the street, and you can see how much stuff there is to do down there. It's really something else. I'll try to give you a look as I cross the street here. See how much there is. It's crazy. So you can catch that if you want on the live stream that I did a couple weeks ago. And then I did one just a week and a half ago or something, where I went just to the falls. So I gave you a really spectacular look at the falls. As a matter of fact, that day was so gorgeous. It was our first like amazing day for weather. Excuse my voice. And there was a rainbow that seemed to be following the whole time. There's that Niagara Skywheel. You can see all the stuff there is to do around here usually. And there's a much closer look at that go-kart track. The Mario Kart inspired Niagara Speedway. One of these days I'll do a review of that. You see how much stuff we have around here. I gotta stay away from those stores. I love touristy stuff. As a matter of fact, when we go out on things, we went to Blue Mountain last summer, which is an area in Ontario, a couple hours north of where we are. There's a lot to do over there. We went to Ottawa last summer for a weekend as well. I always try to limit myself to buying a keychain so that I don't end up spending a fortune. And I certainly don't want to add t-shirts to a collection that I'm not going to wear. So here's a good look at the Skylon Tower that I was talking about. That looks like the CN Tower or the Space Needle in Seattle and other places. There's a revolving restaurant up there. It takes about, I think, 90 minutes to make a full rotation. So while you're eating a fantastic dinner up there, the restaurant spins and you get a good look at the falls. We went there for a New Year's Eve and were able to catch the fireworks afterwards. So you can imagine how spectacular that might have been from that height. Thanks, Lucy. Oh, Lucy was here in 79. I don't know about a tightrope walker. That's possible, Dan. Oh, thank you for everybody congratulating me on my hours. I'm still in review, so I can't be too excited just yet. I don't engage in bad behavior, but we never know, right? And then, yeah, I don't know about that, but they got zip lines down here now. We haven't done that yet, but we intend to. If there's a tightrope like you're talking about, it could be possible. I'll never do it. I don't do heights. I fell once 17 feet and was on crutches for 6 weeks, so I'm never doing that again. Yeah, 10 years is a long time when you think about it. Things can change, and you'll see. Oh, your favorite restaurant is the Skylon Tower. That makes sense. We had a great time there, and a great meal. So I'm going to keep going here. I just wanted to catch up on the chat a little bit. I certainly don't want to fall too far behind. Transit going through there. Very easy to get around in Niagara. You don't have to drive and worry about parking. Kristen and I just got a pass. And I think the parking pass that we got is good for 2 license plates. I think it was $75 for the year for both of us or something like that. Kristen bought it, so she knows. And then I don't know if it's available if you're not a resident or not. Maybe Kristen can answer that. But anyway, we have that now, so we can have a little bit better time parking. So if we have people come down to visit us here, then we could just park their car either at our place or somewhere, and then we drive because we get the good parking spots, right? And then Like I said, I don't know if that's available to everybody or not, but it's a thought. But they have transit anyway, and you can see how far I've walked, and it only took me a half an hour to get from the edge of kind of where the locals are living and shopping and doing their thing. And there's still restaurants and stuff out there, but they're more like destinations. But to walk through this area was only half an hour. And most of the streets don't span much farther than that. So I certainly wouldn't say you could do Niagara Falls in a day. But a long weekend might, even by foot, get you most of what you want to see or do if you're able. But then again, like I said, there's transit. I think we have Uber and Lyft here. I'm not sure, I don't use them, so I don't know yet. And then you know, there's regular taxis and stuff as well. And for those of you who come, you've got some friends here anyway. Timed myself a little too early to catch the sunset, but you see it's going to happen in the next hour. We're almost at the longest day of the year, right? Kristen reminded me of that the other day. And then we lose, I think, a minute and a half of sun for the rest of the year. But you can see we're back. I still got another block or two to go to get back to where I started from. Actually, so I said at the beginning of this stream that Kristen and I have been to a handful of different restaurants, you know, in our time living here. She's lived here for years and years and years, but I moved down here with her 4 years ago. And we've been to a lot of places. And I always pick on the franchises because we haven't had a good experience yet. They've all been subpar. I don't know if that's because they rush, they're too busy. And all the other excuses you could think of. But we did have good experience at Chuck's. I think we've been there twice. Maybe more, I forget. I like Chuck's. Chuck's is a franchise, and it seems like the food's the same as everybody else. You expect the same thing from these places. I just usually eat burgers there and this and that. They have a burger and fries for $6, if you can imagine. And they add their 3% profit on it, or whatever it's called. It's 18 cents they point out in their menu. But you can't beat that. So you could usually go there and literally with a $20 bill have a burger, fries, something to drink, and change, which is after tipping. Or at least maybe with the tip, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. Not that I like to be cheap, but you can't beat a good deal like that. So it's one of my favorites. As soon as things open up and I can get there, I'll be live streaming from Chuck's. You can bet that. You can bet that right now. I've been there with Dan many times too, to different locations. Now that I think of it, from Impressions DJ there. Getting close to being back where I was. I still got a little while to go. Oh, what hotel? I'm gonna pass the keg in a minute, actually. I'm gonna walk right by the keg. Did I walk by it already? Why can't I remember? No, I walked by it already. There it is. So, Courtyard Marriott. If you can see, I don't know if you can. Courtyard Marriott has the sign right on it for, or is that, the signs are confusing over there. Quality Courtyard. Anyway, that's where it is. I was just there. I just walked by it. So it's not too far from where I just was. Actually, if you want, not that I expect you to, but you could watch back the replay and you'll see me cross it twice. All I did was go down from about Main Street and Ferry. As a matter of fact, this is where Kristen came with me this morning to take the photo for our thumbnail for the video. There's the sign that we used. Can you see it? I think so. Falls View Boulevard and Ferry Street there. Anyway, so I came down here and started at about Main Street, which is going to come up in a little while here, and just went down to, not the end of Victoria. Victoria goes on and on and on. Ferry Street turns into Victoria. It's one street, and I just walked about 20 minutes to half an hour one way, turned around, just going back the same way, and that's it. I figure every time I live stream, I'd like to show a different area. The first time I did it, I asked, what does everybody want to see? And a few people said that they want to see more of the tourist area. So last time I came, I did the entire, like I did the falls, but I stayed there. So I gave you a look for about an hour just of Niagara Falls, like the falls themselves, the seventh wonder of the world, or whatever number it is. But today I decided we'll do only main streets in the tourist area. That way none of us get bored, including me. A lot of nice cars out this time of year. A lot of motorcycles, of course, but there are a lot of done up older cars, restored, from I think we saw a Ford Model T the other day. I don't know cars well enough to know, but we saw like there's original F-150s down here from what feels like forever ago. These cars are now getting almost 100 years old, and people have them still running, still in pristine condition. And one of the things that they do down here, a lot of people get together, they go to a Canadian Tire parking lot. There'll be 100 cars there. They do it, I think, on Tuesday evenings, and it's I have yet to be able to be there, but it's really something else, and they take it very seriously. So hopefully I'll get a day where I can look at that. You can see as I get farther away from the tourist area, there's still some large hotels and this and that, but now we're getting into residences, you know, and stuff. There's the tourist area again back there. It's a decent sized town. I'm happy here. Lots and lots of these benches. You can chill out and relax for a minute, wait for the bus if you're waiting or whatever. You can see it thins out now, right? There's still touristy stuff all the way down this street. It eventually turns into Lundy's Lane. And it goes all the way out to the edge of the city. Too far for me to walk today. Jack Ryan, how you doing? Thanks, Lucy, for all the kind things you're saying. As told by Tina, thanks for coming in. Mr. Fulton Mraz, thank you. Mr. Fulton Mraz always shares us, everything we do. Yeah, that's okay. You know, we stream 4 times a week, but I gotta stream when I can. So I know that not everybody can make it just because it's convenient for me. But I appreciate I appreciate every minute that you spend in any of my live streams on both channels, and especially the fact that you share out so much. It's very generous of you. Oh, now I noticed Kristen corrected it in the chat there when I caught up for a quick second, but there's signs all over town to let you know what's going on as well. There you have it. Keg is located in the Embassy Suites. The eyes are deceiving from my angle, but that's all right. You can see things have really thinned out now, so there's not as much, but this particular street still has lots of restaurants, some souvenir shops, and interesting things all the way along. It goes right through all of Niagara Falls. Quite a town, a mix of new and old. Lots and lots of these motels too. So you got hotels all the way up to, you know, Hilton and stuff like that. You've got motels everywhere. They got all kinds of stuff here. Laser tag, the indoor skydiving, indoor water park, jet boat tours down in the falls. They got tours down there. I don't know if they still do the walk. You could go under the falls. I haven't done it, but I feel like I did it when I was a kid in school, but I could be completely wrong, so never mind. Can't remember how many times I've been here. From Domino's. Lucy, if you can ever make it to Niagara Falls, we'll show you some much better pizza than Domino's. Although Domino's is my favorite franchise, I think, except maybe Pizza Hut. Domino's is the one I've ordered more than any other. But I usually like to find individual places. I never used to be like that. I used to always like franchises only, right? Now I like individuals. I make the same joke all the time, but my favorite pizza place closed down. My new favorite pizza place sucks, but I still love it. And this is Main Street. So Main Street, as you can imagine, runs through Niagara Falls, opposite of Lundy's Lane and Ferry Street. There's a sign. You can see they change over. And there's lots more to see both ways, especially this way. But there's enough this way as well. So that's it for today. thank you guys for coming. I hope you will give me a thumbs up if you haven't already before you cut the stream off. And then I hope you'll consider subscribing. I do tech reviews, YouTube tutorials, and a lot of live streaming on this channel, so I hope you'll consider subscribing. And I will see you the next time from KevinKaye.com. Take care, everyone.